Welcome to Do It in Durham 2021. Now in its 9th year, Do It in Durham is an event series that takes place during Global Entrepreneurship Week. It is Durham Region's own forum to celebrate, inspire, and support entrepreneurship. Stay tuned as we bring on our presenter.
Good day, and welcome everybody. Do It in Durham takes place during Global Entrepreneurship Week and is Durham Region's own forum to celebrate, inspire, and support you, the entrepreneur, and in entrepreneurship. 2021 is our 9th year. Our theme this year is riding the waves. Just like in surfing, businesses need to be able to ride the waves, fight the sharks, and find the perfect wave. This event series is a collaboration of organizations and resources for your business owners, individuals like yourself in the Durham region, and in partnership with business owners and entrepreneurs sharing their expertise. And our entrepreneur in house today sharing her expertise is Coach Christine. Coach Christine, excited to hear what you're sharing with us today. Please take it away.
Yay, thanks so much, Patrice. It's a pleasure to be back. I love BACD and I love my entrepreneurs. I have volunteered, I guess maybe for the last 5 or 6 years with BACD. And so all of you are in a very privileged spot. So I just want to give you a high five for meeting the standards to be able to be included and invited and accepted into the BACD program in some form or using the resources. So I am Coach Christine. I was looking through who's joining us today, and I don't recognize anybody's faces. So this is actually a really good thing, because being an entrepreneur, I want to have new experiences. So I'm not familiar to you. I will introduce myself just really quickly for a moment. I am a business coach as well as a performance coach. So I work with individuals on helping to grow their experience and grow their lives on an individual basis, but also most specifically, my focus is around the business owner and running businesses, and also supporting teams and leaders. I've been a certified international coach through the International Coaching Federation for over 6 years, which means that I spent tens of thousands of US dollars and 2 years of study and practice. So I believe in committing myself to high professionalism so that I can give my clients the best. What are we here to look at today? Oh my goodness, I wish I had discovered this program when I was maybe 30 years younger. This program can be life-changing if you put into place. Hi, Nancy. You're the only name I recognize. If you put these practices into place, you too can see the same profound impact. So with my backing and with my research and my experience, this is probably the best program that I can offer you. But don't take my word for it. We're going to spend the next 2 hours taking it apart, learning all the different principles of the workshop, of the content. I will be running a 6-week format of this in January, which goes into much deeper depth. But today I want you to walk away with 3 principal aspects, the 3 core foundational aspects of the mental fitness program. So with that, we're going to cross our fingers and share mastering your mind and mastering your life. I'm guessing that many of you today here are made the commitment of time, right? Time is one of the most expensive commodities that we have, because we can waste it in an instant and then not know what happened over the last hour or two. What did I actually accomplish? So you setting aside and making time for us today, I appreciate. I know BACD appreciates, and I hope that at the end of our 2 hours, you're going to find this to have been worthwhile and a valuable experience for you. So the basic principle, the more we get control of our mind, the more that we understand how our mind works, the more that we're actually be able to create mastery in our entire life. So our work life, our business life, our family life, our personal life. Growing 3 core mental muscles to help you thrive, not just in adversity, but at all times. So these applications that you're going to discover and experiment with today are applicable not just today, but for the future. If you have children or employees, these are really good principles to be able to model and then they will, see and notice and pick up by osmosis some of these changes that you've made to yourself. So our time together, and I'm actually just going to take my watch off because you're on my entire screen and I don't want to lose track of time. So a little bit of a welcome, which was my welcome, and an intro, which we've done. We're going to look at the positive mental fitness program, give you the most important aspects. We're going to do a Saboteur study, and we'll have a breakout session, and then we'll talk about next steps. How do we deepen this for you? If you're interested in joining me in our next session, we're taking a break over Christmas, and that might be in January. So quick question. What I want you to do, everyone that's joining us today, put in the chat 2 words. Why are you here? What do you want to get out of it? So that I have a sense of what's been your motivator to show up and use that valuable time with us today. Could be more business, more money, mental fitness, less stress. What's drawn you here to be with us?
Sorry, Coach Christine, I thought I was off mute. I read them all out. To succeed, understanding me, positive mental fitness, less anxiety, launch a successful business while managing the stress effectively.
Ooh, I love that list. And I love the fact that somebody mentioned they want to get more in touch with understanding who they are. Because when we understand who we are, then we know how to stop what we're doing and then create new patterns and new habits of change. So, welcome. And thanks for sharing that. Hopefully by the end, not hopefully, I know by the end of today's session, you're going to find value, and each one of you will be taking away points that are important to you. My goal is that you walk away here with 3 points. That's all. I'm not asking you. This is going to be a fire hose. This is going to be a ton of information. You might start to feel overwhelmed. I want you to write down 3 things that have left an impact that you can then start to make small incremental changes with. That's my goal. Just take away 3. There's going to be tons of ideas, so you'll have lots to choose from. Pick what resonates with you. I want to share that this is not just about me saying, hey, this is the best thing since sliced bread. This program is based upon proven results. We've had over 500,000 people take this program worldwide. I've been studying with people from many different countries. It's just been so culturally exciting. And what we know is that we will see, if we do an MRI after 6 to 8 weeks of using this program and applying the exercises, that we will see a change in your brain. We will see your region where your sage lives, that's where all the positive energy is, will start to grow. We are actually using neuroscience to map new parts of your brain. So the positive part of the brain is where the sage lives, and that's where the beautiful essence and energy and curiosity, and that's what helps us build our resilience, build our confidence. Anxiety sits in that gray matter, and that's where the survival, flight or fight is, the saboteur region of the brain. And so after 8 weeks of doing this program and these exercises, this is provable results that the program works and starts to retrain your brain. How exciting is that? Like I said, I wish I'd known this about 30 years ago. So not only have we done our own research and we have it backed by science, we have some really great data about results from big corporations that have used this program. So to me, we don't need to be a big corp to be able to see these results. What's important is, how does it affect me and my life, my wife, my family life, and my work life? So just some examples: 37% that took this program at MetLife outsold the comparative group that didn't take it. 93% of trained employees at Motorola increased their productivity. 34% in greater profit at a restaurant in the United Kingdom. In the pharmaceutical industry, the average salesperson improved their competency by $55,000 per month. So we see here, it has what we've measured is the business impact. And the more clear you are, the more you understand how you react to situations, and the more you build those new neural processes in your brain with the program, the more the results will be personally as well as in your business life. So what is mental fitness? Mental fitness is your capacity to respond to life's challenges with a positive mindset, not a negative mindset. And so what are the impacts? So we want to be operating from our top performance level. Our top performers are the ones that know how to work at peak without burning out. There's a balance there. And a part of the elements in the mental fitness program teaches us how to become aware of when we're in that flight or fight, when we're not working at peak performance, how to shift our mind into peak performance, and then how to go into action. So peak performance has different aspects, and what we're doing is teaching you and building your mental muscles to be able to respond, shift, and change. In addition to that, peace of mind and wellness come just naturally built into this. And I will confess, I'm not perfect. My husband was in the next office to me. He'd agree wholeheartedly. I'm not perfect, but here's what happens. When I don't do my mental fitness exercises from this program, I start to get tired and I start to get more anxious. My stress builds, which tires me out more, and it becomes this, circle, right? This circle of anxiety and this circle of depletion. And I feel more exhausted. When I get back into the flow, it's like, no, go and do your fitness exercises. It only is going to take you 2 minutes. I find that my flow, my life, my happiness really increase. So it's a tangible response. It's a physical response. And when I ignore it and I don't do it for a day or two, I suffer. And then I go back to it. So peak performance isn't just about performing at your peak. It's about graduating you and your skills, your mindset, and your awareness that you are in the black hole, that you are in the saboteur mode. So we want to help. So this program will naturally not just help with performance from business-wise, but also from your own personal mindset, your own personal health and joy. And of course, it's like that drop of water in a pond. Circles of waves go outward from your drop. You're the drop, and now you're going to be affecting the relationships around you, as well as your family and business. And so those healthy relations start to become stronger because you're more emotionally aware, making more positive choices as opposed to being in a reaction. So the impact is very profound. I took this course probably a year and a half ago. And when I finished it, I had started to change. And my husband was looking at me like, wow, like, what, what's going on? And so I shared with him about the program. I said, I have to do this. I have to take the next year and a half of studies in this so that I can become certified and accredited, and I can bring this to everybody I know. It is that powerful. So here we are, some of the research foundations. So what's the background? So I mentioned it's not just me or the company or the organization saying this. We have actually brought in 4 different aspects of positive psychology, cognitive psychology, performance science. And I used to work with a psychologist on performance science, and he would coach Canadian Olympic teams. Performance science is a huge part of how it is that we operate. And so we've built in those principles around performance science into creating a program and building the application that will help support your growth and retooling your habits and patterns within your brain. Neuroscience, I don't know if any of you dabbled or started to read about neuroscience. I became really involved wanting to learn more in neuroscience because my mom was diagnosed about 8 years ago with Alzheimer's. They wanted to figure out what was wrong with her brain. And so I started to do the reading and just found it fascinating. And it is one of the 4 pillars that we bring into the program is the neuroscience. So these are not new or distinctive foundations. The way that they're brought together for you is what is unique. And we are putting them all together in one way for you to learn and adapt to versus, keeping them in 4 different separate quadrants. So we're bringing the best of all of them for you. So We've got research results from CEOs and their executive teams. Shirzad Chamine is the man who created this program. He was a lecturer at Stanford, and he brought it to his students as well, and they were participating. Again, that performance science aspect, bringing in athletes from around the world to use it and test it and to continue to improve on it. And again, over 500,000 participants have been enrolled in this. There's a book published, which if you decide to go forward and join us in January, it's called Positive Intelligence, which is what this program is based on. I will be showing a little bit of a video about Shirzad. So we're going to have a peek into one of his presentations he gave to Google. So 3 keys here. The performance, the power of factor analysis. So how many colors are there in the world? Thousands, right? Thousands of colors. Like we just started to do a bit of a renovation around the house. And it's like, well, what color of beige do you want? Well, who knew there was, like 500 tones of beige. But really, when you get down to it, there are only 3 colors. There's red, blue, and yellow. And those 3 root causes create the thousands of colors in the rainbow, create the thousands of colors. But you start with those 3 keys. And that's what, through Shirzad's research, was he discovered the 3 factors, the 3 core factors, the 3 foundations that we need to grow that support building our positive mental fitness. The first is the Saboteur interceptor. The second is the beautiful sage. And the third, self-command. So I'm going to talk more about these 3. And when I had written up the introduction for the program today, this is what it was revolving around. What are those 3 keys that you're going to learn? So each one of them we're going to touch base on. Now, we have 10 saboteurs and 5 sage powers. So the saboteur is that grumbly, negative talk, so that voice that you hear in your head that says you're not good enough, and why did you think you could do that, and I don't want to do that, I want to avoid it, and oh, I'm afraid of that, I might want to control it. So we have 10 saboteurs and 5 sage powers, and they're at opposite ends of how your brain functions. The 5 sage powers we're going to explore as well, how you can move from saboteur to the grumbly, negative self-talk into bringing one of those positive, enriching sage experiences. So 10, I know it sounds almost overwhelming, 10 on one side and 5 on the other, but you know what? The 5 sage powers are even stronger than the 10 saboteurs. So we look at the saboteurs, the first part, and who they are and how to weaken them. The first and the most powerful is the judge. Interesting to know that when you start to use the application, you start to get your daily exercises, you're going to be opening up your mind, and you're going to see how much it is that we actually judge, that we don't realize we're in a judgment mode. So what is the judge? The judge is the absolute top saboteur. The judge is the one that's your critic. It causes guilt, shame, anger, regret, anxiety. And the judge judges 3 different ways. It's going to be judging you, judging yourself, or judging others, or judging circumstances. So the judge has 9 playmates. The judge is the one that is the strongest, and then the judge says, hey, look at this. My person is judging that one over there. My person is judging that other person or situation, or beating up and judging yourself. This is amazing. We get to keep you stuck. We get to keep you stuck in that negative self-talk, in that negative self-perception, in the building and swirling of anxiety, because the judge brings in its playmates. The judge has accomplice saboteurs, and those are the other 9 saboteurs. So some of the thoughts that you might recognize, or maybe your light bulbs will start to go on. You're having judge thoughts when you're thinking, yeah, what's wrong with me? Why couldn't I do that? What's wrong with that person? Why don't they get it? Come on, I've explained it 3 times. Or what's wrong with that client? How come they're not buying? Come on, So you're judging yourself. Oh, I'm less than. What's wrong with you? Or what's wrong with the circumstance? Why is it that I'm having difficulty reaching my target audience? My target audience, is not receptive to my product. So the judge is judging one of 3 ways, or even multiple ways at the same time. Much of the anger that we feel and the anxiety is instigated by the judge. So how are you, takeaway question. Oh, did I tell you there was homework? Yeah, there's homework, sorry. Takeaway question, judging. Do you judge yourself? Can you catch yourself? If you remember this morning, just reflect back to this morning. What were you having any judging thoughts? Well, my hair looks really bad today. I had a situation just the other day. Somebody in our neighborhood had made a criticism of my little white Twinkie. I had little white lights on the back of our porch, which kind of, I guess, illuminates the sky a little bit. It's a little Christmas lights. And my neighbor said, something about, well, light pollution, and kind of rolled her eyes. But it was directed at me and my Twinkie lights. And you know what? I took that personally. And I thought, and I didn't look at it as though that was her concern. I embraced her negative thought. And I started to personalize it. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have those twinkle lights on that I enjoy and I like to see at night and give me a warm sense, of the outside. So I started to blame myself. I was judging myself. Well, maybe I should take them down. So it actually took me a day to do my mental reps, to disassociate myself with what I thought was her judgment, which actually probably turned out to be her statement of herself. So I judged myself, I internalized her thoughts, I took it as a negative, and then I let it impact me to the extent where I was going to make a change for something that I enjoy because of somebody else's negative comments. So it's a little bit of an example. What judging thoughts have you had about you, those around you, family or friends or clients, or the situation? Also, I would like you to try to cue into, when I'm filled with anxiety and my stress level is really high, this is my judge working on me. Okay. Cue the 2 in. And we'll talk a little bit, show you a little bit later about how we can stop those judge feelings. All right. So the judge, not only is it very powerful and gets to do lots of talking in our mind, it also tells you some lies. So the judge likes to be in control of you, keeps you predictable for your behavior. And one of the things that it fools us with is says, without me pushing you, you're going to get lazy, right? Your success has been built upon me pushing you really hard. So if I don't keep that job up, you're going to turn into a lazy so-and-so. Without me punishing you for your mistakes, you won't learn, and you're going to make those mistakes again. Without me scaring you about how bad the future outcome might be, why would you take that risk? Stay safe. You will not work to prevent any of those mistakes. So your judge tells you and justifies its presence by wanting to have you believe that the judge is there for your best interests, protect you. You won't learn unless I'm pushing you, and you'll get lazy. So without me judging others, you're going to lose objectivity, and you're not going to protect yourself and your own self-interest. And lastly, the other way the judge tries to convince us that it's important to have the judge front and center in all of our actions. Without me making you feel bad about the outcome, you're not going to change. So don't do that. Don't take that bold, adventurous step. Don't go to the next level with your business plan. No, no, no. Let's play it safe. So these are the ways the judge fools us, and we call them lies, but honestly, whether or not you call it a lie or a justification, these are true. However, whatever words you use, these are the facts of how the judge operates and runs us. So I said the judge, that all-important judge, and I have a name for my judge, but I'm not going to share it with you. But that's a part of what we get into if we go into the program in January. Has 9 playmates. So when the judge says, oh, I've got a prime situation, let me call on one of my buddies, we have 9 different saboteurs that the judge calls in to be our friend. So we might have a controller. You might recognize a controller. The controller saboteur is that person who walks into the room. They're kind of like a bit of a bull in a china shop. Everything has to be their way. Generally not open to feedback. Generally not a discussion. It's a do it. It's a telling. I'm going to tell you what to do because my saboteur needs to control this. Why does my saboteur need to control it? Because I'm afraid. I'm afraid things are going to get out of control and I'm going to get hurt. You might know the hyperachiever. I'm going to put my hand up for here. I admit it, I'm a hyperachiever. I think a lot of business people are hyperachievers because we want to blow it. We will out of the park. We want to succeed. So many of the business owners I work with are in the hyperachiever mode. And that means that I'm going to assert myself again, but I'm going to assert myself because I want to win. I want to be at the top. And what does that give me? That gives me acceptance amongst my peers. It gives me acceptance amongst other people. You might know a restless person, that person who kind of goes so far and then gets bored with what they're doing. That project never gets quite finished, right? They don't go to the next level in their business plan. They kind of stop and play it safe. That's what they're looking for, security. You might be recognizing some of these ones. This next group, they want to earn things. The hypervigilant wants security. I don't want to, that's it's similar to the judge in that way. I don't want you to take a chance. What happens if? So the hypervigilant wants to be safe. The pleaser, do you know a pleaser in your life? That's that person that says yes to absolutely everybody and everything. We've got a pleaser in one of our groups. He's the most beautiful, heartfelt person. He doesn't know how to say no to protect himself. And then he's overrun, burnt out, unhappy, and complaining. So he's created his own misery by trying to please everybody and not taking care of himself. The stickler, you might know a stickler. I know a few sticklers and I've worked with a few. The stickler's the one who gets right down to the granular detail. And they're also controlling. It needs to be this way, and A is first and B is second and C is third. Don't mix up third. Don't mix up the order. You might get to the same end of the alphabet, but the stickler is really looking for that process and they're wanting things to be done right. Have you an avoider? Are you an avoider? Yeah, so those are the people we know that, it's okay. I'll just, it'll go away on its own. I don't want to step into the muckiness. We also have the hyper-rational. Hyper-rational are fantastic. They are excellent at creating patterns and disseminating data and driving things forward based upon the numbers and the statistics. Then there's the victim. The victim is the one who's, oh dear, woe is me, so sad. I give everybody everything and nobody gives back to me. Now, we all have the judge and we all have saboteurs. There is nothing wrong with having saboteurs. They're part of our makeup. And the judge and the saboteurs were given to us early age in order to protect us. So we adopted many of these personas of the saboteur as a matter of self-protection. So there is no shame in having a saboteur or 3. There is no harm. And every one of these saboteurs has a beautiful positive side. And what's happening is when our judge and our saboteurs are running at high speed, we're on the negative side of the brain. We're on the depleting side. We're on the fight and flight side. The positive aspect, every one of these saboteurs sits on the sage side as well. We have beautiful positive aspects of the saboteur. We're just out of balance. Most times we're in a habit of behavior. I'm always going to operate as the controller because I know best and I'm too afraid. What we want to do is we want to be aware of when our controller is in overdrive, in that saboteur mode. We want to stop it. We want to then move into the sage aspect of the controller. What can I learn from the situation? If I become more curious, maybe there's a better answer. So every saboteur has the two sides. The mental fitness exercises are moving us towards bringing the positive sage aspects out of us from our saboteurs. We're going to have a break in a little bit, and everyone is going to, if you want to participate in the workshop, the second half of today's session, are asked to take it's a free online assessment that it takes maybe 5 minutes. That will tell you what your saboteurs are and what their strengths are. When you receive those results, I ask you to forward it to me, and I'll show you my email, and that will then allow us to group you into the different breakout rooms based upon your saboteur. So then the sticklers will be together, the hyperachievers will be together, and so on. So that's our goal, right, Patrice? We're really hoping we're going to make that happen. But nonetheless, regardless of whether you're able to join us and when you want to do the assessment for yourself, find out where your saboteur strengths or your saboteur weaknesses are the highest, so that you know how to turn on their strengths. So, as I said, 10 saboteurs on the left, and it's operating from the limbic system, the left side of the brainstem, that's the fight or flight. The sage powers, it's the essence of empathy and creativity, exploration, and it's the beautiful way to get you to where you want to go. Instead of beating you with the saboteurs, we're going to energize you with positive mental fitness with the sage powers. So the saboteurs motivate you through those negative emotions: fear, stress, anger, guilt, insecurity, right? I'm not enough. I don't belong. I'm less than, that whip. We get out and we beat ourselves up. And we also allow other people to beat ourselves up. Sage, on the other hand, that beautiful, motivates you through positive emotions. Provides you with an opportunity to be empathetic for other people, but most important, we dive into empathy for yourself and self-love. It also has other aspects, like let's get curious. The more curious we are, the more open we are to opportunity, to learning new things. How can I get more creative? The sage is going to bring passion and purpose. Can you tell I'm passionate? I just love this program. I could go on forever, but I do have to watch my time. So your saboteurs might generate success, and you're going to say, I got here based upon hard work, and that was, the ethic that I grew up with, and I know it works because here I am. No doubt. I'm not going to question that for a minute, but what got you here using that saboteur mindset might not get you to where you want to go. Your sage powers will get you where you want to go using your highest success, using your positive energy. So using your energy so that you don't deplete it like it is sucked out of you when your saboteurs are at work. So are having negative emotions good for you? I'm talking about all this great positive stuff, am I telling you that, no, there's not going to be any negative emotions? Well, is pain good for you? Only for about 1 second. Negative emotions, that's the saboteur. and pain are an alert signal. They're not where we are meant to stay, stuck in that anxiety, stuck in that stress. Staying in that saboteur negative mindset hurts us emotionally, so we cannot see opportunity. We cannot be brave enough to overcome the fears. We cannot move into action. The negative emotions we feel come from our judge and our saboteurs. And again, good news, you're not alone. You're not alone. We are in good company. Now's the time to let go of those old patterns and behaviors that protected us and were so necessary in our younger years. And now we have the choice, the emotional choice, the emotional maturity and opportunity to move into how we choose, not react like we've been doing, but create new neural pathways, create new habits, create more mental fitness so that we can change our habit and pattern of behavior into the more easy flowing sageness. I'm going to pause there because we've got the sage is the next aspect. So Patrice, can we just take a moment, and if anyone has any questions about the saboteur, pop them into the chat, and if not, we'll go into part 2.
I think one question that had come up was, where's the skeptic?
Okay. So the skeptic resides in every saboteur. The skeptic is the one that is data focused, right? So they're going to be the left side of the brain. So all of your saboteurs want proof, want data. Show me the raw numbers. Don't sell me a story about feel-good, touchy-feely. The skeptic resides, it's sort of like the base of the judge. So if you're a controller, you're going to be skeptical about what I'm telling you because you're not going to want to believe me because it hasn't been proven to you. If you are the hyper-rational, your skeptic is running at a really, really high rate. The hyper-rational resides mainly, it's a thinking part. So the hyper-rational thinking part of the brain wants you to rationalize everything. So the skeptic runs really high. So you'll find the skeptic runs at different levels within different saboteurs. Ultimately, what we know is based upon the data and the proof of what you'll see if you decide to join the mental fitness program, you're going to have an app on your phone, and on the app is going to have, you'll get every day little a information session telling you about what the mental exercises are for the day, and then you will do your exercises. So it will show you the progress of your mental muscles building. So you're feeling the change within your body as you're doing these exercises, and you're seeing the data be represented, because we know that people don't always operate equally on both parts of the brain. So we want to actually help you feel the change through the mental exercises and quantify the muscles that you're building. Any other questions?
No, not at the moment. Diane says the skeptic. So I think where the concern is that when we get vulnerable or let down the guard to that. So with every new programming or everything that comes about, and in this instance, she follows up with the skeptic believes nothing and no one, because when they do, they get scammed. So there's a vulnerability there, right? Like, what happens when we let the guards down?
Well, that's wonderful. And so the challenge is to embrace the sageness around, let's get curious. Let's do a 10% step forward. We don't want to go all or nothing, throw everything out, and then just bare our souls to that fear or expose ourselves to the opportunity of being hurt. So I recommend that we take it in 10% increments. So today, what's your skepticism level? 5 out of 10, right? Okay, so how do we decrease your skepticism level down to 1? Today, can you open your fear, open your belief just by 10%? Just expand the opportunity by 10%. Little bits every day will help for you to see the proof in your experience, but also in reducing that skepticism. The skepticism is your saboteur and judge running at a high steam. Little by little, increments.
Thank you. There were no other questions or comments at this time.
Okay, thanks, Patrice. Right, so let's go into the sage. So the sage sits on the right-hand side of our brain, positive emotions. Probably many of you have tried meditation. I've tried it over the last 20 years, and what I find is I can't quite master it. I don't stick with it while it's happening. If I'm with a group of people and doing it, it can come a little easier. The peace and calm that we've built into the exercises give you a similar experience as though meditating, but it only takes 2 minutes because we're highly engaging the brain for a short period of time. The time, our attention span for us is very low. And so we've taken the concept of meditation and broke it down into that little bite-sized piece, like we would looking at, helping the skeptic along piece by piece. And so these are many little meditations or contemplations, probably more contemplation than meditation, 2-minute exercises throughout the day, 3 times a day. So you're creating a mental fitness habit based upon contemplation for 15 minutes in the day. And that reduces your anxiety, brings you that peace and the calmness. And when you have that peace and calmness, we get clear-headed. We get to have a greater focus. We're not running on that treadmill. The sage also brings us the opportunity to explore. How can I, as a controller, be more creative? Oh, you mean you want me to take my hands off the driver's wheel? No way. So slowly, bit by bit, when we introduce the sage, we're saying, hey, try this out. Let's try to be more creative and less hands-on. Let's try to be more empathetic versus driving the car all the time. Let's step into the bigger picture, because the bigger picture might actually give us better results than if we're always trying to push the answer. So we are now becoming more aware of what our judge and saboteurs might look like. And when we know or we recognize, oh, we've just been hijacked, we can now start to look to bringing a sage component into the situation. And there are 5 sage powers. Empathize. And empathize is the first sage power that we work on and build. This is where we have the most beautiful opportunity for personal growth. And when we grow personally, it impacts our business. So empathy is about learning how to empathize or becoming more empathetic with ourselves, first of all, and then with others, so that we can bring compassion and understanding to other situations. So empathy is the first sage power that we help you to build. The second is explore. And it's where we want to be bringing our curiosity into the situation. It we want to use the explore power to open our mind. Think of it like being the curious anthropologist. What's here? What's here that I need to know? I could use my example from my little fairy lights in my backyard with my neighbor. I went into saboteur mode. I went into judge. Oh my goodness, what's wrong with me? Are my lights bothering her? I don't mean them to bother her. Oh, that's not a good thing. Maybe I should take them down. Boom, right? Did I go down the rabbit hole? Yeah, you bet. If I had brought my sage out, I might have started with, oh, that's unfortunate. It's impacting your, the nighttime brightness for you. Oh, you're 4 houses away. I'm surprised, right? So I could understand what she was saying. And then I might have explored, oh, okay, well, so tell me, what nights do you sit out and have a fire? Maybe I could turn my lights off, if it's every Friday or Saturday night, like explore, get curious. What is it around the situation that we can then come to creating, something that's positive for both of us? So the sage power of explore doesn't mean you're going into action. It just means that you're getting curious. Innovate is where you get to create new perspectives. You might be looking for outside of the box, typical stereotype answers. This is bringing in some of that curiosity. This is a fantastic thing to do with family. So if you're trying to figure out a situation or you're at loggerheads, you can sit down and use the innovate power and just say, hey, you know what, family, let's just sit down and not talk about this from a personal perspective, but let's do some brainstorming. Let's just throw all of the options on the table and how do we figure out, what we're going to do. So, and it doesn't mean that what's put on the table is done, but it means that you're opening up that communication, right? So important, with family relationships as well as work. So how do you create new perspectives? It's by becoming innovative. You've explored, starting to ask the questions. Well, now let's look at what the options are. There are two powers that we bring and we add into, or two skill sets that we add into the innovate sage power. One is the 10% more, and I had mentioned it earlier about trying to work with our skeptic who might get themselves stuck because they don't want to change. It's that 10%. What can you do today? Just add 10% more. Are you able to dip your toe 10% into the pond? Can we help you to grow, innovate a little bit beyond your growing edge? So that's one tool. The other tool is yes and. We play a great game in our group meeting around the innovate. So we experiment as a group. We talk about a specific problem or situation that the group wants to take apart and say, okay, so let's put our innovate hats on as a group. Let's help our member out. And then we use the yes and. And the yes and is, if Patrice said to me, I'm really struggling with my daughter. She's just turned into this nasty teenager. She cleans up around the house, but I really want her home by 10 o'clock on Friday and Saturday night. Help me out here. I can't convince her that the curfew's appropriate. So I might say, well, Patrice, I really love the fact that she's collaborating and picking up her weight in the house. So yes, that sounds really beneficial. And what if you gave her more of a reward or an incentive for coming home on time? So the yes and acknowledges Patrice's perspective, and I'm adding on another suggestion. Doesn't mean I'm right, doesn't mean I'm wrong. What we're doing is we're getting innovative together. And then Patrice might come back and say, well, Christine, yes, I like that. And maybe I can make it 11 o'clock on Friday and midnight on Saturday. So we see the innovate, we get out of the box. We stop our stuck traditional reactions and our traditional mindset. It's beautiful sage power. Navigate's the fourth one. And navigate means choosing a path that best aligns with your deeper underlying values. This is fantastic for business because you could be looking at your value statements and your mission statements and applying the navigate sage power to this as well. Of course, it's going to work within your work environments and your business, and of course, your family. So one of the things we work with, one of the tools that we bring to help you work with the navigate sage power is to flash forward. And flash forward is a visualization where looking 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, tell me, you know, or not tell me, but you're thinking this to yourself. This is a situation, this is what I've got. What is it that I see happening 5 years from now? And you're getting out of your calculating, data-driven mind, and you are entering into the creativity of the potential that sometimes gets buried because we just go into our thinking lives. We want to be bringing out some of the essence of the thoughts and feelings that are sitting behind us that we tend or that we can ignore. The last sage power is to activate. And that is the action mode. So we have acted little bits here through the different sage powers. Activate is really when we're now taking decisive action. We've kind of explored, you know, the different 4 powers, but we're taking decisive action without distress, right? Without that whip from the saboteur. We've stepped into this positive mindset. We've explored the options. We've taken off the boundaries. We're now ready to look at making that commitment into the next active step. And maybe that next active step for you is that 10% more growth. That 10% dipping that big toe into the pond, not the whole foot, just the big toe. Activate's really important because there's a component to activate that we want to pay attention to. I don't know if any of you have read the book Dances of Behavior by Harriet Goldher, probably not pronouncing that right, but Lerner is her hyphenated last name. And it's about patterns of relationship and how we get into dances, right? We got to do the 4-step dance with the hubby or the wife, you know, around and around in circles, and we don't break out, right? We've got patterns. And then when you start to change how you have behaved, people around you notice and they want you to change back. You're now changing and you're causing them distress. You were predictable. Now you are not. This is how your saboteurs are going to react to you changing and bringing the sage and stopping the saboteur and the judge. So when we go into activate, we want to be exploring, what do I think my saboteur or my judge might put up for me as a roadblock? What interference are they going to bring me? What distractions are they going to put in front of me? Because my judge and saboteurs like me just the way I am, but I know that I need to get unstuck. I know that I need to grow. So activate, the first step is having a little bit of contemplation around, what can I expect my saboteurs to put in front of me as a roadblock? When you know what you can expect they're going to be, when you see them, that's when you have more power and you say, thanks very much, pleaser saboteur. I appreciate you trying to protect me. My sage has this. I've got this. Acknowledge, accept, and shift, move into the sage perspective. So another sage perspective, every outcome or circumstance can be turned into a gift or an opportunity. I was let go from my corporate position 6 years ago. I was absolutely devastated. Our lawyers made a fantastic financial settlement. I funded my company for the first 2 years through that settlement. It was the worst and the best thing that ever happened to me. The worst because I'd never been fired and I was so angry. It was so unfair, but they paid for it. The best was that I discovered coaching. I discovered my calling. I discovered who I am. Did it become apparent at the time? Nope, I was too stuck in Saboteur. So our sage perspective, every outcome or circumstance can be turned into a gift or an opportunity. It may not be seen today. It may develop down the road. I want to show you a quick YouTube video, and this is the one I had mentioned earlier. So this is of Shirzad Chamine and his presentation to Google, and it's on YouTube. So I'm going to stop sharing and go over to YouTube. Start sharing again. Share screen with audio. Select on here. Okay.
Finding out that everybody else has saboteurs too. But at that moment, the terrifying realization was that I thought I was the only one who had the saboteur. So, so I want to, just in the interest of time, move a little faster and get into just talking about how the saboteurs are in these two different, there's a grid of these 9 saboteurs, and that the 2 dimensions are motivation, what the saboteur gets you, and the style with which that saboteur gets you. We create a wanted poster. And why do we create what the saboteur gets you and the style with which that saboteur gets you, that thing that you're looking for? And that results in this cast of characters: the controller, hyperachiever, restless, stickler, pleaser, and hypervigilant, and avoider, victim, hyperrational. This is the nasty cast of characters that's running the show in many of our heads. The judge being the one that everybody has. Then the question is, which other saboteur do you have? And I have worked with hundreds of people. I have actually literally coached hundreds of CEOs and their executive teams. I have worked with people on the manufacturing floors. I have not yet found a population that is not significantly hampered by these saboteurs. This is the source of our quiet desperation in life and how we do not achieve a lot of our potential in the world. So there is an assessment at the end of actually at the end of this talk I'm going to give you, there is an assessment online that you can go, and in 5 minutes you can get a bar chart of your saboteurs. And the reason I want you to do that is that one of the key ways that we want you to weaken your saboteur is this. If the saboteur is your internal enemy, what do we do with criminals? We create a wanted poster. And why do we create a wanted poster for criminals? So that we can catch them the moment they show up. So ultimately, you want to create a wanted poster for your saboteur. What's its name? What's its habits? What's its characteristics? What's its belief systems? And the assessment online is going to help you figure that out. Figure out what your judge's characteristics are and what other top saboteur that you have. And then what you do after that, one of the key ways to reduce the power of your saboteur over you is that every time, since you have done the wanted poster, when it shows up in your head, you can immediately recognize it. So all you need to do, one of the key things that you can do is when the thought shows up in your head, you just label that thought as saboteur and let it go instead of trusting it or pursuing it, because now you know it's your enemy. So just notice the difference between me saying, I am going to fail tomorrow, versus my pesky judge saboteur says I'm going to fail tomorrow. I mean, do you see the difference? Do you feel the difference? You take away the power, the credibility of these nasty characters in your head. The moment you label them, recognize them as not your friend, label them as they show up, and let go. And that gets us, so that's how you weaken your saboteur. In the book, there are other strategies for how to weaken your saboteurs. The second strategy, remember the first strategy was weaken your saboteurs. The second strategy is, okay, if you can weaken the bad guy, but you can also strengthen the good guy or gal inside of you, and that's your sage. Now, one of the key things about the sage is the sage perspective. And the sage perspective is a radical departure from how your saboteurs have you deal with life's challenges and difficulties. And Here's the sage perspective. Every outcome or circumstance can be turned into a gift and opportunity. Every outcome or circumstance can be turned into a gift and opportunity. And a key way to strengthen your sage is to actually begin to embrace that perspective. Now, to help you embrace that perspective, I want to share with you a story and also share with you a little bit of an experiment somebody did to prove this hypothesis. So first, the story, and it's a story that comes from Taoist China, and it's a stallion story where it's the story of a farmer who lives on a farm with his stallion. And by the way, before I'm telling you the story, let me ask you the question. If you have a prized possession in your life and your most important prized possession gets stolen, do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? Most of you would say, with the normal mind, says, of course that's a bad thing. What kind of stupid question is that? If a loved one falls down and breaks their leg, is it a good thing or a bad thing? Once again, it's a stupid question. Of course it's a bad thing. And basically, the sage says nonsense to that. The sage says it's a gift and opportunity. And that's what the stallion story is about. So this farmer lives on a farm, and he has a prized possession, a stallion. He enters the stallion into a competition in a nearby village, and the stallion wins first prize. His neighbors come to congratulate him, and the farmer says, who knows what's good and what's bad, which is a very puzzling response. The thieves in the neighborhood have found out that the stallion has won first prize, is more precious, so they come and steal the stallion. The neighbors come to bring condolences. Once again, the farmer says, well, who knows what's good and what's bad? Again, a very puzzling response. Another couple of weeks pass, and this stallion, who is very free-spirited, he runs away from his captors, finds his way back to the farmer's farm, and has befriended all these beautiful wild mares and comes to the farm with all these precious wild mares in addition to himself. The neighbors come to bring their congratulations. Once again, the farmer says, who knows what is good and what is bad? Another week or so passes, and the farmer's teenage son is riding one of these wild mares to tame it, and he's thrown to the ground and breaks his leg. The neighbors come to bring their condolences, and once again the farmer says, who knows what is good and what is bad? Another week or so passes. By the way, by now you have noticed this village is a very eventful village. Like every week something monumental happens. I like to live in that village. It's exciting. So another week or so passes. A war has broken in the area. The imperial army is coming to every village to conscript able-bodied adults, and they have to bypass his son, the farmer's son, because he has a broken leg. By this time in the story, the neighbors have gotten the picture, right? They don't even bother to come and bring their congratulations because they know what the farmer is going to say. What is the farmer going to say? Who knows what is good and what is bad? Now, there is one thing about this story that's different from our sage, right? In this story, the farmer miraculously passively waits for the bad thing to turn into a good thing. Now, our sage is very active. Our sage says, I can and I shall turn this bad thing into a gift and opportunity. So please, if you miss your numbers for the quarter, do not go to your manager and says, boss, I have missed all my numbers, but who knows what is good and what is bad? Don't do that. Say, I have made mistakes here, but I know how to turn it into a gift and opportunity.
All right. So there you've got a little flavor of Shirzad and the beauty. He's such a wonderful, wonderful person, and you can tell he's very passionate about the book he's written, the program that he's developed. He's actually the one that provides all of our daily activities and all of our contemplations for the day. And the videos that you will watch once a week are narrated by him as well. So welcome to Shirzad. He's very, very empowering. And I know those that have taken the program with me just absolutely love his essence and his very playful experience or person. So which perspective is true? Saboteur, this is a bad thing, or sage, it's a gift? Whatever you focus on becomes your truth. So how do we're going to break shortly, so you'll have time to do that assessment. But I just wanted to share with you a little bit more about the 10-second positive intelligence reps, and call them PQ reps. So what is a PQ rep? The rep is building that mental muscle. we have a daily instruction, and the daily instruction is what we're going to learn or practice for the day. That's outlined. It's maybe a 2 or 3 minute audio on your app on your phone. And then you're going to go into doing a rep, and a rep is the mental fitness gym. So so the first 2 areas that we dealt with were psychological areas. This is the third area, the third key component in building stronger mental fitness, happiness, and joy in our lives is the self-command. And this is happening at the neurological level. And that's where we were talking about at the beginning, where we see when we do these reps for 6 to 8 weeks on a daily basis for 10 seconds, that we see that change in our brain. And you can do these reps anywhere, any time of the day. Like, how about right now? So yeah, right now. Okay, work with me, guys and gals. Begin to feel the weight of your body on your butt. Have you been aware of your butt? No, you've been sitting on it all this time for the last hour. So you've been in your head, not in your body. So I want you to become aware of your butt right now. Kind of wiggle it around for the next 10 seconds. This ends up activating the part of your brain that accesses and builds positive mental fitness. Or maybe it's in your fingertips. Maybe you rub your Peter pointer and your thumb together. You rub your fingers together. You do that for 10 seconds. That will activate this rich part of your brain. Another popular way is to feel your breath. The rising and the falling of your chest or your stomach. Another way, when you're eating, if you could slow down your eating, just take a bite for 10 seconds and feel the texture of the food in your mouth. How about when you hug a loved one? You can hold on to them for 10 more seconds. Feel their heartbeat or feel their breathing. That connection can have an impact on your relationship. This third strategy is making mental fitness a positive, actionable item. And I know you can do a series of 10 seconds a day, 3 times a day, to strengthen your mind and become the master. So is it really possible to shift from Saboteur to Sage in tough challenges? Absolutely. The speed at which you can do it and the depth of your shift depends on how strong your mental muscles are. And at the beginning, I'm going to be wobbly like a new baby learning to walk. Like anything, the more we do it, the stronger we get. So generally, when you take courses or programs and whatnot, what you're getting is insight, 20%. You're walking away with a little bit more knowledge, but not a whole lot of application. That's where our mental fitness program differs. We are using that 80% mental muscle application every day in the gym, and you're seeing the benefits, feeling them in your body, seeing your mental muscles, your muscles build in your application. Success requires intense initial practice. We do that. We dump you into the gym. We push your boundaries and your limits. Okay, there's no sweating, but it's mental activity. And we do that for 15 minutes a day for 6 to 8 weeks. So master your mind, master your business. Just to cover off the last 45 minutes of our presentation, when you are feeling negative emotions, you're in Saboteur. Stop. Breathe. Shift on your numb bum. Do PQ reps. Rub your fingers together. Activate the sage. Assume that sage perspective. That every problem can be a gift. What's the gift here? Get curious. Then put into action any one or a combination of your sage powers. So that's the summary of the first 45 minutes, the 3 key aspects and skills that you can use to master your mind. We're going to take a 15-minute break. We're running a little bit short of time. I would like you to go, if you haven't done so already, complete the online assessment. If you want to join us in the workshop for the rest of the session. And this workshop is going to be broken into whatever your top saboteur is. We're going to put you into a breakout room. You're going to fill out the wanted poster. So I'll put the wanted poster up on the screen, and you can write notes, make notes, however that is. You're going to have about 8 minutes to complete your wanted poster. Then as a group, you're going to share what your experiences were about, because you all have the same common saboteur. And then you'll appoint one spokesperson to share with the entire group. We're going to come back together, share as a group, so that we get to see all the other saboteurs and what you were discovering about that as well. So there's the website. It'll take less than 5 minutes to fill out the assessment. When you get your email notification, forward that to me at Christine@coachchristine.biz, and Patrice and I will work on getting our list together for the breakout rooms. So we'd love to see you back here in, well, let's make it 10 minutes because we're going to run out of time. Thanks very much, and see you in 10, hoping that you'll be able to join us for the meaty part 2 section of our workshop today.
Thanks very much, Christine. So for everyone, if you're welcome, I'm leaving the Zoom open. But if you wish to, because it's going to be interesting, certainly we'll implement a lot of what Christina shared just now, today. So click on the link. I did put it in the chat box for convenience for everybody. Click on the link, you'll get the assessment. It'll take less than 5 minutes. And then email the assessment. So you'll get a copy. Just forward it to Christine@coachchristine.biz. She'll then put you guys in categories, and we will meet. For sure, we'll come back in before going into the breakout rooms. So do you want me to put a timer on for you, Christine? I'm going to press pause for the recording.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So we have the wanted poster, and that was where we're starting to identify and understand. And when we name it, as Shazad had said, when we name it, we can call it out. We give it, a presence, and then we let it go. Then we move into the reward section, and the reward part, this is part of your homework. The reward part is, what is the sage? What are the sage powers that I can use, towards my saboteur that's heavily weighted? Thank you very much. I just want to say thank you very much for sharing. And that can be a little bit sensitive for people. So thanks for stepping into your fear and trusting all of us to share some of those personal notes about how your saboteur works. Or how you're feeling them. So what did we learn? Stop the negative emotions, activate the sage, quiet the saboteurs, pull out the sage gift. Let's explore how do we turn this into something positive for ourselves. So we looked at the 3 core operating systems, and how do you apply this? So your rational brain, that thinking brain, makes you smart, but your mental fitness, positive mastery, makes you wise. We've learned how to be smart. Now we're going to learn how to be wise. And we do this. I have a session coming up in, those are the proven results that we saw. Some of you might know this amazing, fantastic entrepreneur, graduate from BACD, Kathy Westrop. She's an advocate of this program. She's taken it, and essentially what she says, my biggest challenge was avoiding challenges. And when difficult situations arose, she'd get anxiety and be overwhelmed, and she shut herself down. Now learning and going through the program, she's stepping into her positive power. She rises to those occasions. It inspires her instead of now creating avoidance. So if you want to know Kathy, or you want to talk to her about the program, please reach out to her. I know that she's very open to that. So in January, I have this starting 6-week program, 1 hour a week video you watch. You do your 15 minutes of mental gym activities that come on your app. We have 1 weekly group meeting. In addition to that, you will have one follow-up coaching session with myself. You will have access to all of the content on your app for a year. You will receive a soft copy and an audio copy of the book. You'll read the 8 chapters of the book throughout the course. And my gift, because I love BACD, my gift for you, the fee is $345 for the 6 weeks. My gift is a 20% discount for the first 3 attendees today who want to join the session in January. I'll give you 20% discount. I want to help. I want to continue to help, but this is so powerful for all aspects of your life. So register now to hold your spot. The first session is going to be January the 17th. It'll be at 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. We need 2 people per group so that we can have this sort of discussion back and forth and supporting each other. And if you happen to have 4 people, you want to have your own private group, then there's a further discount of $100 per person. I am so sorry to run out of time. I am so happy. I hope that you've walked away. This investment of your time with us today has been of value. And if you want to have a conversation, there's my phone number. Want to email me? Absolutely. Are looking for any of the other resources? Want to talk about your assessment? I can help you understand that a little bit more. Thank you so much, Patrice and BACD, for inviting me to be a presenter and helping you to help others.
Thank you very much, Christine, for your time and for sharing some important information. Again, it starts with what we can do, what we make aware is what we can change. Same with business planning. So thank you so much for that. And I just want to give a shout out again. We could not be doing Do It in Durham and celebrating global entrepreneurship without the collaborative support and efforts from our community partners and entrepreneurs like you. So thank you so much to our sponsors, so 2021 sponsors. We really appreciate all the support, and to each and every one of the entrepreneurs out there who are making a difference every day by showing up and doing their own thing. Thank you again. Be safe, be well. Until next time.
Thank you for being a guest in this presentation. If you would like to book an appointment with us here at the Business Advisory Center Durham, just follow the information right on the closing slide, and we look forward to seeing you.